Hello guys, my name is Legit, the Cage Shaker, and I want to make Birdcage great again. And this video is basically towards you, Czar. Now before we jump into this, I had a whole longer video about this. It was literally going on for 40 minutes long. I had some friends in it, and we all just discussed it. I don't think y'all want to sit through a 40-minute video, especially since that one just wasn't clean enough for me to actually say that's just like worth sitting through.
Abnormals?
So I'm not going to make you go through that. I'm just going to show little bits and clips from that, and that's going to be that. However, this, I want to go into depth just from what I think about this and what I've been able to get different insight for. So first, if you guys don't know, yesterday, basically Czar released some new dev update, and not gonna lie, it changed the game. Extremely. What's a good update, right? What's a good dev update before I start this? That was the one that I did a video on beforehand. What they did with that one, if you guys don't know, was there was Reptile Skin, very big perk for Lone Soldier, but I would argue probably the only good one, and they got rid of it. And there's a lot of people that felt very indifferent about it, a lot of people that felt very strongly about it. It was a very mixed pool. But in response, Czar was like, okay, we got rid of this. Here's 40 new talents. And in addition to that, within that talents that he offered, it basically restructured and remade Lone Soldier. And not only that, but it also made the balance of the game for its quality of life good. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. It actually made it so that, okay, you're not just going to have constant safety perks. And I think it was very good for the future of the game. I gave it full props. Everyone else enjoyed it as well. Now, what happened, though, was this next update came out. And again, I'm going to be just showing bits and pieces. But there's basically 3 elements to this update, which not going to lie, I'm not a big fan of any of it. I think this was probably one of the hardest updates. And I'm going to say it straight up. The reason I think this whole thing came out was just so that it's getting everyone ready for when the lore reset happens. And I'm going to go into a little bit why that's not a good thing. So, this post started out with legendary rates will be tripled, meaning harder to get. Any legendary pity systems have been removed, and mythics are no longer rollable. Original will get an adjustment soon, same for unoriginal. I hate this. I hate every single bit of this. One, because legendaries to begin with are pretty hard to get, and now it's going to be triple as hard to get. Meaning, they're not resetting lore right away. This is just the way it's going to be. When you're in TC, there's already like a skill cap for like that pool of your player base, so it's a little bit fair. But the more you get out of that, and this has always been a problem with me at Birdcage, which I understand why it's the way it is, but once you get into that, everyone's all together. Meaning, you might have people with 5 perks, you might have people with like 100-something talents, right? So when they're going against each other, what happens is you're not on the same level at all. And a lot of times it turns into stat checking. It's even when it goes after Titans, you'll see people that have good gas preservation perks or good health perks, and they'll be going in and out trying to kill Titans while there's you with like maybe 5 perks that even one of them might help you kill Titans. What this does is essentially it makes it so that that ceiling is even further apart. The good thing about some of the things that Czar added, for example, ambitionless, was it made that ceiling kind of close again, so that when you were going to die, if you were this was going to be like a new player, it would make the game stronger and help level that gap. This is going to be abused completely now. If there's people at the top, they're going to go even more to the top. And there's people at the bottom, they're going to go even more to the bottom. And you can't fix it with the way the legendaries are. And the worst thing that is hard about this too is, if you guys know stats, it's not like 3 out of 100, let's say like 3% of the time you're going to get like a legendary. It's not like, oh, every 100 times now out of like 3 times you're going to get legendary. It's not how stats work. Basically, you're almost screwed out of the legendaries. And the pity system, since it's gone, like, you're never going to get one unless you really are lucky. And when you have people that have like maybe like 4 legendaries, like you're doomed from the start. Now, mythics no longer rollable. One thing I hated about this is the fact that if you're getting rid of mythics that are rollable, that means there's only 2 other options. One, in lore, or through a mod, which more or less, let's be real here, it's the same thing. I have hardly ever seen someone through in-lore actions, if they're not a streamer, a high com, or someone valuable in the community, get these things. This is why I like mythics that are rollable, because my big thing, that's why I always praise Czar, is because there's a lot of things in this game that if you just want to do it, you can. That's why I did that one run earlier where I just chose all the disabilities. I did it because the game allows you to, and I love that. This isn't a game that you're just stuck into doing one thing, and Czar is basically putting into that level. And I think this whole part right here, the first section, it is going to alienate so many players, and all it's going to cause is an echo chamber, and that is not good. So that's what I think about that. That one needs to be fixed immediately, or again, you're just going to have big fish, little fish, and the only way you're going to get higher is if well, really you're not engaging. Moving on. This is going to be part 2. And this is going to be the talent gain. Okay? Now, when it comes to talent gain, what it basically said, and you got like a bunch of like sad face emotes, is Titan talent point gain heavily worsened, 10 times less gain. Now, if I remember correctly, it's around like, let's say 10 Titan kills before you actually get a perk or a talent, right? It's about that. With this, 10 times less, meaning you're going to have to literally kill about 100 Titans before you actually get a talent. I'm sorry, but that's insane. That is just straight up insane. Basically, you're going to have to be a Levi level Titan Slayer if you want to get anywhere. And if you're in a branch, let's say like SL, SG, hardly are you ever going to get any talents now. So that kills a lot. Next is node support buffed. I have no idea. I'm not going to lie. I feel stupid. I have no idea what the fuck that is. Second, removed building TP. Knew that shit was doomed when I saw staff members spawning indoors at a window for building TP. Yeah, I understand things being abused, but here's the thing too. I have a lot of feelings about building PDs. I like them. I think it's great. What's the incentive for you to build though? If you're not going to get TP, what's the incentive? And I don't think building by itself is a bad thing. Clearly, you just sit there, you do the time, you build, and then you get something for it. It was fair. If it's abused, though, that's more of a moderator issue, and it shouldn't be abused. If anything, personally, I always thought that building TP should have just been for Dennis citizens. That's just me ranting, but at the same time, I don't see a problem with it, and just getting rid of that is another opportunity for people just to not have another way or another means of getting TP. And that's the thing that's going down the wrong path. The nice thing about TP beforehand was there were so many avenues it could go left, right, or whatnot. If, let's say, a moderator wasn't able to watch over every single person. Like, they can't always. This is a way for everyone to be able to do so. Next one is Bad Apple Stance says now a damage debuff, not severe, whatever. This isn't our debuff, whatever. Removed Lizard King having a 10% damage increase, replaced with a negative 10% damage increase. There's a lot of sad faces. Not gonna lie, I like my lizard guy, but, I'm sorry. Here's what I am going to say, though. First off, I know a lot of people, like, already told me, like, they didn't like it just because it's like, oh, this is a person that already was a dev. There's a dev spec, so it's not like it means much. Either way, if you get something, I understand it being nerfed, and that's not a good thing. But second, I also I kind of just want to rant about this. I think the Lizard King has always been funny. I've always enjoyed it. But I think there's a little bit of an inconsistency with certain things, especially this, like, Lizard King thing, because, I'm just saying, please don't get rid of him or anything like that, but, like, I've seen in TC where, like, somebody will have, like, a certain hat or, like, a certain funny emo on their character, and it's like, oh, no, you can't do that because that's not consistent with lore. And they'll get, like, you know, demerited, they'll be yelled at, they might be threatened to have their character killed off, but then you have a character like this Lizard King that's just completely fine. I don't mind if we get a little fun and goofy, and this is one thing I've always had an issue with, like, mods and admins, just like, well, overall, just the group of the game. If we're going to be goofy and have fun with this, sure, let's do that, right? I'm okay with that. But if we're going to be biased about who we're going to let have fun and who not, that's where I have a problem. So, moving on, though. So, add here. Staff now have a better way to hand out talent points for good roleplay, and it will be properly monitored. So here's what I'm going to say. Almost every single time I've had staff hand out talent points, it has not gone well. It's like people saying, don't worry, trust your government. They'll take care of you. No. It's nice to have staff there to help out when they can. It's nice to have staff there to give out when they should. But to solely rely on that, that's only going to make it so that, again, the people on top keep getting what they get. And the people that are, like, less than, that aren't, like, let's say a streamer or a high income or even admin or just especially around the community, they're not going to get noticed. They might be swept under the rug. And that's not okay. That's not good. You want to have these different avenues so that, let's say someone does mess up, at least they can be like, oh, well, clearly this doesn't work out as well. Here's some other ways I can get TP. This is a very black and white situation where it's like, okay, I'm going to get rid of all this and work on this. Not always the best. And I've seen this fail in multiple situations when it comes to systems, especially for games. So, I would recommend against that. Marley being banned from doing obstacle course for TP. I don't know if you still do. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of. About Marley though, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's a TB thing. I kind of get it. It sucks. But I'm from LDO, baby. Fuck Marley. Oh yeah, baby. No, I'm done. Moving on though. Not push, but armor durability will be added and will be incorporated into the economy system, meaning you can actually have to buy armor now, kind of like equipment. I'm gonna be real, I've never had armor. I never really understood a whole lot. I know it was only like high comp that could use it. And I was explained that this might be a good update. Not gonna lie, I don't understand all of it, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. You guys can decide what you want. I just see a bunch of hot dog emotes, so. Moving on though. Here is the third part of this whole discussion that makes this difficult. If you guys don't know, beforehand we had a major nerf to health. So it got buffed a little bit, right? So damage for Titans got buffed, which fair enough, right? But then also we got a buff for health, and I like that. It was buffed up to 25 HP. Well, because the creators thought it wasn't a good idea, they dropped it back down to 15 HP. That's a huge jump down. It's probably some of the lowest we've ever had. Now, let me mind you, your talents are low now. Your talent ways of gaining talents are low. Getting rare talents is low. Now look at this. Titan grabs are 2 times more usual. Getting bit has a 0.5% chance of permanently disabling your gear. When a abnormal Titan grabs someone, they keep moving. When a Titan is blind, they keep moving. Stomps are buffed. Titan biting is buffed. And Titans can grab while blinded. Let me explain a lot of things here. I don't know if these guys actually tested this stuff out. I'm not trying to be rude here, but they didn't test a whole lot out because this just simply is not going to work well. First, let me explain this. Already, things are buggy when you're going to like really high servers. Let's say there's a wall defense and it's like super high ping. If it's a 2 times more grab than usual, I've already been killed multiple times because Titans are just laggy like that, and you won't get voided. You just won't get voided. So essentially what's going to happen is, if you want to play towards a meta, you have to essentially, and I've looked at it, you basically have to go MP, medic, play chill for a while. And you shouldn't have to go towards that. You shouldn't even have to go towards that. And the worst thing too is now, okay, let's say they keep talking about biting. Getting bit has a half chance to permanently disable your gear. If biting is buff and already that happens, you're going to get bit when you're going to die when you first get bit anyways. There's literally nothing you can really do to survive these Titans now. And there's multiple clips, which I will show some actually, where people are showing that these Titan grabs while they're blind are just like insane. It's not like they just keep moving and they're blinded, right? Like, they will literally just get blinded and still just grab you and eat you. And I think what Czar's trying to do here is incorporate teamwork, but let's go forward a little bit of things first. One, balancing's off. The Duro spec is almost meaningless now, unless you're going to PvP, which even then, incentives are off right now. So there's almost no reason for you to even want to do that. Second, if you were to do that, it's going to make it so that there's a meta towards, basically you want to either do Excel or Strength. And you should have metas like this in game. A good game is always where there is a slight, but almost every build works well. And that's how a game like this should go. And now that's not the case. And that's very disappointing, especially since already the system may not be perfect. It was that. Now, the worst thing is there's other systems in place in the game that were very important that are now demolished. Number one is Aux. Aux, if you guys don't know, is basically a way for you to surpass getting training camp, right? But you have to kill a certain amount of Titans. There's easy mode and hard mode. Easy mode is almost going to be impossible, and hard mode is almost going to be... It is going to be impossible. For the average player, that is going to be impossible. And I'm seeing people I've talked to, and they're like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. You may not be the average player. But the average player, they're not going to be able to do that. I'm less than the average player, so no, I can't do it. But it's going to be really bad. And maybe they thought about that, and they're like, okay, screw it. But here's what I think, right? I'm going to finish reading this. Finally, he says, as in, like, kind of at random, we might revert. We'll see how broken it is. It's really broken. Please revert this. Please are. Please. Then finally, we were told that all the updates were published. We got a bunch of thumbs down because a lot of people don't like this. And then finally, it says, special equipment buying is out now. I'm be real, I don't know what the fuck that means, but there's a lot of fire symbols, so yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's all I'm going to say, but I think Czar is clearly trying to push us towards getting out of in-lore actions, right? He's trying to make it so that we're getting ready for the lore reset. But I'm going to be blunt, because I didn't really want to talk about this. I don't like the lore reset. I don't think it's going to be a good idea. I don't think it's going to be a good idea. Because if we look at history here, every other AOT game hasn't done well with the lore reset. Whenever that lore reset happened, the game died. Why? Because first off, it basically said that everything that those players' actions did towards that time in the game meant nothing. And two, there's already underlying issues in the original in the game. So we thought, oh, lore reset. No, because those underlying issues that weren't fixed still are present. And that's basically what's happening here. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's going to be different this time. It's going to be different this time. That's what every other game said. I like to use a very strong example, and that is, that's also what a lot of communists said about, oh, it's going to be different this time. And then it wasn't. That's how I feel about this. Now, I am of the opinion that, I understand what Czar's doing here. I understand he's trying to get us ready for his lore reset. Can I understand why he's wanting to do it? Yes. Do I think it could work? Yes. My problem, though, is he's trying to put this thing that is a completely different game, where now you're going to need a lot more teamwork, into his game. And to be honest, I don't think that the game we have right now is broken completely. I think there's hope for it. I think there's a lot of good things. But I think we got to just fix the culture that's around Birdcage, and I don't think these updates worked. I think what happened before, where we're using small little incentives, where it's like, oh, now I want to do this because this perk leads me towards this direction, or I'm getting pushed to do this because it's going to help me. None of this is going to make people want to do things. It's going to divert them away from it completely. And I hate saying this because I am more of a lore guy. If you look at me, like, the number one complaint I get from people is like, oh, well, you're just Titan fodder. But it's like, I play the game mainly for lore. But the reason why this game's fun too is because there's a balance between stats and lore. When you have both those, this game goes very well. So, Czar, I love you, man. But I'm just saying, I don't think this is the best call, and I don't think it's the best for the game right now. I say, you go back to the other update, you cook on that for a bit, you come back with us with that, and then you let us make Birdcage great again, baby. I believe in you, Czar. Please, this is my heart. I'm giving it to you. Don't break it. Please. So, this is my message to you, to any developers that see this. Please change it. And to the rest of the Birdcage community, I understand this might be a little troublesome. I understand why people might be a little stressed, or might understand why people might not care. But at the end of the day, I do think that this can be reverted, and if we want to make Birdcage better, we as community have to fix it. There's a lot of other issues I want to address, there's a lot of other things, but this is one step that we have to revert, and I think it's possible. So, as always, guys, smile, keep it up, and let me know what you guys think about in the comments below. So, my name is Buddha, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye, guys.